gonna be cool.
The topics and opinions expressed on the Dudes and Beer podcast are intended for an audience of 18 and up and are solely those of the host and guests. They neither reflect the opinions or values of either the sponsors of Dudes and Beer or your mother. I mean, seriously, have you ever heard these guys? They'll talk about anything.
Whoa, hey, you think they're gonna show it? They'll probably just blur it out. Whoa, check it out, Beavis.
Get ready to sit back, relax, and open your mind. Welcome to Thinking Deeply with Dudes and Beer. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this volume of Thinking Deeply with Dudes and Beer. I am Chris Jordan, your host of Dudes and Beer and Thinking Deeply, and many more things to come with Dudes and Beer. But today on Thinking Deeply, as we go into the new year, I guess I kind of wanted to talk about resolutions and the whole concept of resolution and what it is to make a resolution, what it is to keep a resolution. And not just that, but how do you make a resolution? Like what, like I said, explaining the concept of a resolution. A lot of people just, I don't think, grasp that and grasp the whole breadth and depth of that concept of a resolution at the new year. So when we get back from this message from our sponsor, we will delve into that concept. We will get into the idea of changing our lives, trying to do something to better ourselves when we get back from this message from our sponsor.
Hey, he don't even have his license, Lisa.
Crazy drunk driver.
Hey everybody, Chris Jordan, host of the Dudes and Beer podcast here. Has this ever happened to you? Tired of looking in your rearview mirror after a couple of drinks with friends or worrying about no-refusal weekends and DUI stops? Are you planning a night on the town and want an easy, safe way to get around while still having fun? Well, Fare is the ride service for you. Simply download the easy-to-use and free Fare app from the Google Play Store or iTunes Marketplace and use promo code DUDES10 every time you ride with Fare to save 10% off your ride. Have a Fare driver you liked riding with? You can not only give them a review and tip, but you can add them to your preferred drivers list on your Fare app and request them every time you ride with Fare. You can schedule rides with Fare to pick you up immediately or as far as 30 minutes to 7 days in advance, eliminating the need for last-minute calls and allowing you to pre-schedule pickups in locations other than your home city. Perfect for those traveling for business or for fun. So don't forget to stop on by and download that free Fare app and use the coupon code DUDES10 every time you ride with Fare to get 10% off your ride. That's right, don't forget the coupon code is DUDES10. So be like Dudes and Beer, everybody. Party safe, use Fare, and drink responsibly. And that could not be said at a more apropos time of year. Actually, it is rounding New Year right now. And it is the time of no refusal weekends. It like literally, this is what no refusal weekends were made for. Was holiday weekends like New Year. I remember years and years ago, myself and Billy Stewart from Scary Dad and our friend Jason Yeager it was a tradition. We always got together for New Year, the three of us. And it was a crazy time had all the time. And God, man, I just remember at like 2:30 in the morning, like we'd stay up till dawn, easily. But I remember at about 2:30 in the morning, like you'd try to find something on TV and there was literally nothing but like drunk driving ads.
and it was like hour-long paid advertisements by Mothers Against Drunk Driving and stuff like that, where it was like, you know, like the Sarah McLachlan dog commercials, you know, where it's like, oh, this poor puppy. It was like, and I mean, I understand people got killed by a drunk driver. It is horrifying. Somebody made a horrifying decision in their life to drive drunk. And those are decisions that are stoppable, folks. Those are decisions that we can make better decisions. If you're able to go out and spend $50 on a night of drinking at the bar, which is conservative. That's a conservative amount for a night out, whether it's a date or whether it's personally. $50 is about average whenever you go out. You know, you can look at about $5 a pint, maybe something to eat. You know, if you're out for a few hours, if you're out on New Year and you spent, you know, $20 to get in the place, man, spend $15 to get home. Spend $15 to get home. You won't have to pay for parking, you know. And those are resolutions, folks. That's the concept of resolution, all right? And that's going to get us into this episode. Excuse me as I hydrate. That's going to get us into the meat of this episode here, talking about resolutions, because resolution, and I mean, let's just take a quick Merriam-Webster here. And I hadn't even thought to bring this up, but I will definitely bring it up now. Definition of resolution: a firm decision to do or not to do something. The action of solving a problem, dispute, or contentious matter. Those are the first two from Merriam-Webster. All right, those are the first two. So a firm decision to do or not do something. All right, let's start there. Number one, you have to make the decision. You have to make the choice. I myself, as someone who dealt with problems at one point in life with some substances, can definitely tell you that was my decision. Number one, nobody peer pressured me, you know, there was no hanging out no bully hanging out on the corner of the schoolyard or some cool guy that I wanted to impress. I really don't know why I did. I mean, I figured it out years later that it was because of my raging depression. And like I said in the last episode of this, my vicarious need to please other people with my life. Where if my life didn't make other people happy, I wasn't happy, and that's just friggin' stupid. That's the most asinine mindset I've ever heard in my life. For anybody who's living it, I love you. I love you. I love the world. I love people. Get over that shit, man, before it does horrible, horrible things to your life and those around you, because it eventually will. You cannot live your life vicariously for the appeasement of others, for the satisfaction of others, to make other people happy. You can't. You can't live your life for that. If somebody's disappointed in you, I'm sorry. That's my failing as a person, I guess, that made you disappointed in me, and I'm very sorry about that. But this is my choice. And that's what it comes down to. Once again, the resolution, the choice, the definition, number one, a firm decision to do or not do something. And that's, most people make a resolution at New Year. You know, it reminds me a lot growing up Catholic, and being Catholic. It reminds me a lot of Lent, you know. I remember in high school, I remember even later, whenever I taught religion and was involved in my church regularly, that Lent would come around and you'd hear people like, I'm going to give up soda. I'm going to give up soda for Lent. Pardon my language. There's a fucking life changer. You know, it's supposed to be something greater than yourself, man. And I'm not going to say that soda ain't a hard habit to break. I freaking strapped me into that soda fountain, man. I could drink gallons of Dr. Pepper on the day, and at one point in life I did. It was nothing for me to have a couple 64 ounces of soda a day. And then I wondered why I had issues with my stomach and stuff like that, and why, I didn't process things well, why I was always peaked out. It was just like overload, And yeah, it's hard to kick that stuff, but really what you want is to make the resolution. You want to make this Lenten sacrifice, because the sacrifice, remember, a sacrifice is something that's a permanent thing. You can never take a sacrifice back. If I sacrificed my Saturday to come help you do your roof, I can never get Saturday back. You get it? You get it. That's all I'm saying. Sacrifice is something that is selfless, and it is something that is done that can never be back. You can never get that back. If I sacrifice my time for you, I can never get that time back. If I sacrifice, like Christ sacrificed himself, let's say, never get it back. Sacrifice means you have given a piece of yourself to somebody. That's what sacrifice means. And a resolution is the same way to me. That's how I see resolution. You have decided to sacrifice something, be it a comfort for you, what have you. But the sacrifice is to do something greater than yourself. The sacrifice is to do something that changes things around you, or changes you as a person. That's a lot of the idea behind sacrifice. And it's the same thing with New Year's resolutions for me. I take my New Year's resolutions the same way that I take my Lenten sacrifices. Like at one point in life, I remember a good friend now, Stephen Alford. At the time, he was a junior in high school and was going through confirmation. I was assistant youth minister, and, we were talking about what we were giving up for Lent. Like I said, I try not to judge people, especially younger people. He was giving up chocolate. He was giving up chocolate for Lent. And he was, hey, that can be tough. Like I said, there are addictions, and there are dopamine things and stuff. So it can be kind of hard to give those things up sometimes. I'm not going to deny that, especially for a teenager. But he was like, what are you giving up? And I was like, well, I'm giving up being judgmental. What? It's like, that. Okay, that's easy. I'm like, all right. I was like, you know what it is to be judgmental, right? It means to like cast an aspersion upon somebody without any kind of evidence whatsoever. It means to like think something about someone with no foundation whatsoever, and to actually like think about their motivation, why they did something. And I was like, it's a little bit harder than you might think to not be judgmental of people. I was like, tell you what, why don't you go through tonight and try to not be judgmental? And it was a typical youth night. We were going to be there 3-4 hours, something like that. And literally about an hour or so later, he came up and he was like, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. That's pretty hard. But, excuse me, it is quite literally something that I still do to this day. I don't judge people. I get upset about how people live their life, things like that. I wish they did something better, but that's their decision. That's your decision. If you want to do that, that's fine. No skin off my teeth. It doesn't really bother me. And that's a hard resolution to keep. But eventually, like we were talking about in the last episode where we were talking about seeing blessing in life and learning to see that concept, it is the fact that the more you live a less judgmental life, the easier it is to live it. The more you make good decisions, the easier it is to make them. It's not hard. Your brain is a muscle. Your heart is a muscle. And, exercising those muscles is just like exercising biceps. It's hard the first time you do 10 reps of 50 pounds. All right. And hey, I'm just throwing something out there, but I challenge a lot of people out there to get underneath a set of weights and push up 50 pounds from their chest 10 times and see if you can actually do it. A lot of people can't. And it's hard. It is hard at the beginning, but your heart is a muscle, and the more you let it feel, the more it will feel. Now, that's a dangerous thing because it can lead to bad things. It can lead to suffering. It can lead to sacrifice. It can lead to all kinds of stuff. So watch it, folks. There's a caveat about feeling and about giving a crap and caring about the world around you. But resolution is the same way. It's a muscle. It's something that, your brain works the same way as your heart. The more you make good decisions, the more you will want to make good decisions. You will see the fruit of those good decisions. And, a lot of this has to do, a lot of our misconception with these words, with these concepts, literally has to do with the fact that we are an instant now gratified society. We don't have the wherewithal anymore. And I was just watching a video this morning talking about millennials, and I have no problem with millennials in and of itself because, like this gentleman was saying, they were dealt a bad hand. They had some bad parenting skills going on that were being spread around all the time. They were given trophies for participation, which in and of itself devalues the concept of a trophy. It devalues the dude who spent the time and did the shit and, made himself something better to be first place. And then it makes the person who got the last place, who was focused on and given this award, when everybody else in the class is going to be like, dude, you didn't even do anything and you still got an award. Why did I do stuff? So this whole immediate concept, and they are the first generation, the millennials, to have, supercomputing in their hands. And he was talking about the addictive quality of social media and how it feeds the same dopamine receptors that alcohol and drugs feed. And, basically we have left a world of teenagers with the keys to the liquor cabinet and given them no warning whatsoever about the dangers of alcohol. And here we have a society that wants immediate gratification. So if you want immediate gratification, your decisions are going to be made toward immediate gratification. And unfortunately, happiness and the longevity of life is not about immediate gratification. It's about understanding the fact that projects like, for instance, Dudes and Beer, been around over a year now, just starting to get some traction. And, anything that you read about podcasting, that's pretty much what it says. Get ready to be a lonely, lonely person for the first year or so. But keep at it, keep plugging away, because the more you post, the more it gets out there, and it will be found. And we are being found. We see regular traffic on the website now, all kinds of stuff. So, but it is a longevity concept. And, you have to have this idea of something that, number one, is permanent. It's not going to go anywhere. All right? And until you see something as permanent, you aren't going to be invested in it. You see? You aren't gonna want to give to that institution that hasn't, really concreted itself in the world around you. So your resolutions, your decisions need to be concreted in the world around you. For me, resolution, like I said, like Merriam-Webster says, is a firm decision to do or not do something. So, you can make a light resolution. Life isn't easy, and Lord knows that it's hard. And whenever you break a resolution and you realize you've broken it, you tend to feel like crap. But most of the time you go, meh, that's what it's meant for. Resolution, the New Year resolution are meant to be broken. Promises are meant to be broken, right? That's kind of the idea, and it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea to have. If your resolution is meant to be broken, what resolve did you have to begin with? And that's my question, and that kind of moves us on into the second part. The action of solving a problem, dispute, or contentious matter is a resolution. The action of solving a problem. And that is where I see my New Year's resolutions. And that's why I say I focus on something outside of myself. And this year, granted, my resolution is myself. My resolution is myself this year. I will finish projects that I commit to. I have a tendency to take on a lot of things, to try to take on a lot of things. And I'm not going to say that devalues projects or makes me to where I don't focus as much on projects, but it definitely makes me a little bit more scattershot and a little bit less laser or long rifle bullet. We've talked about that before on Dudes and Beer, where whenever you have an idea and you want to focus on something, you need to think about it in terms of long and accurate, not short and scattershot. So you need to have long-term goals. You need to have a far-reaching idea. And that, to me, is what I'm doing this year. My resolution is to solve a problem that I have in life, which is the need to overextend myself and to finish projects that I started. Talking Sound is getting ready to reboot after the new year, and I'm very excited about it. I had to take a little time off of it. Had kind of a gut punch with some stuff with it, and it just kind of got me in a funk, and I couldn't get out of it. And I kind of had to refocus and, figure out what I was doing before I could pick it back up again. And now that I'm refocused on that, I am focused on my music. I am focused on getting my music out there. I am resolved to get the Art of Christopher Jordan website up and running. Which it is right now. It's great. Feel free to go check it out. But yeah, like literally, I have 20 years of poetry, almost 20 years of poetry to go through and transcribe into digital format from paper. So it's going to be a daunting task. But this is my resolution for the year. And the reason, it seems like it's a selfish thing. It seems like it's a selfish thing for me to even be starting not just Thinking Deeply episodes of Dudes and Beer, but to be thinking about recording another episode every week called Dads and Beer. And I'm still working on the concept, trying to hash it out. But, it seems like it's selfish because these are my projects. It seems like it's selfish because the music is my project and my passion, as we've talked about before. It's not. It's not selfish. And the reason it's not selfish is because my son Dalbus is on the way. My wife presently is at a doctor's appointment, and I was not able to be there with her because of some stuff that I had to take care of this morning. And it made me very sad that I couldn't be there with her because I've been there for every single doctor's appointment.
I'm doing this for Dalbus. I'm doing this for my son. I wish more people thought about that. I wish more people had that concept. I wish more people thought about making sure to create a time capsule for other people. Somewhere in the universe exists a tape of my grandfather playing accordion and singing. And I would love to find it. If any of my family members out there are listening and you have it, or you have recordings of my grandfather singing and playing accordion, I don't care how drunk he was, how bad it sounded, I want it. It's just, what mark are you leaving? What are you doing? What are you doing to better the world around you? What are you doing to send a message? How many pebbles are you throwing into the pond to make ripples that eventually become a wave? And those are the questions that come up to me. Those are the problem-solving actions of a resolution to me. Whenever I get into it, that I want to be a better person. I want to be a better person for my wife. I want to be a better person for Dalbus, my son, when he gets here. I want my life's work to be known. I want my 20 years of music to be available to people. For God's sake, all I know is that in like 60 years from now, I may be some visionary composer. Who knows? The only way to know is to get it out there, to put it out there. Because once it's on the internet, it never ever goes away, right? We all know that. So, to me, that's the important thing. That's the resolution. That's my decision for the year, is to make my mark, to literally find my little wedge of the universe and coax it. And see, my cat tends to agree with me over here. She is crying for some attention and some love. And she's like, my resolution is to get you to love me, Dad. Love me. God, please love me. But, resolutions are hard. Try to think of something that, really does change you as a person, really is a paradigm shift for you, something that is challenging, something that does take thought. Like we were saying in the last episode of Thinking Deeply, it's that purposefulness. It's that meaning of purpose, that vibe that you put out into the universe, that this will happen, this is actively happening, that causes the reverberation from the universe. And when you push, it pushes back. When you push, it pushes back. Equal and opposite reaction. So, you gotta make sure that you are putting good things out there. You got to make sure that your resolution is one that helps not just yourself, but those around you. Like I said, my resolution I don't see as selfish, because I am doing it for my future generation, for my son. So I'm getting things together for him before he's even here. And that, to me, is a worthwhile resolution. I could do 100 other things, I could say I'm going to go out and take a 30-minute walk every day. I should probably take a 30-minute walk every day too. But I don't find that nearly as important to the world and the universe as what I'm doing on these other fronts, as what I'm doing on these other things. So remember, as you're making resolutions this year, as you're going into the new year,
Resolve yourself to be a better person. Resolve yourself to be a person of the world. Not a worldly person, but a person of the world. You know, a person who strives to understand and empathize, not to sympathize with people. Nobody wants to be felt sorry for. What they want is understanding. Okay? We need to learn as a people to empathize with each other and to stop sympathizing. The sympathizing is what leads into the spiral with people. And when people sympathize with them, they tend to want more sympathy because it's a dopamine receptor. You know, we want people to feel sorry for us. We want people to pay attention to us and that right. So we have to be careful with that. And we have to have empathy, not sympathy. All right. We need to learn to feel what it is to walk in somebody's shoes. We need to learn to associate their pain with our pain and understand how to not cause pain to begin with. How to circumvent that, you know, and it's a simple rewiring of yourself. It's training that heart muscle to work in concert with the brain, and rewiring yourself to, before you say anything or do anything, to imagine if that was said or done to you in that same circumstance in the same way that you would say it. And would it feel good? Would it feel okay for you? You know, if it doesn't feel okay for you, then you need to not do it. It's just that simple. You need to just not do it. So that's how you rewire yourself to start thinking about others first, is to really start thinking about what you do and how you put it out into the world. So on that note, everybody, take care with your New Year's resolutions this year. Keep them close to your heart. Make sure that your resolution is something that actually means something to you, that is going to make you a better person, that's going to make you strive to be a better part of the world around you. And, you know, as you move into the new year, try and keep a focus on doing good things, being good to people, being there for people, being human, opening your heart and your mind. And, you know, I guarantee you, as that starts to happen, that things will change. You will start to see things in a different light. I guarantee it. It's without a doubt. And those are the moments that we need to look for. Those are the moments that we need to hold dear. So on that note, everybody, have a safe new year. Have a happy new year. Have a blessed new year. And if you can't be good, be good at it. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to this installment of Thinking Deeply with Dudes and Beer. Tune in next time for more deep introspection, contemplative thought, and general musings on humanity and life. Right here on Thinking Deeply with Dudes and Beer. Like what you heard? Feel free to tune into the other content by Dudes and Beer on dudesandbeer.com. Our content is also available on the Spreaker market, as well as SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the Revolution Digital Group family of podcasts. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. And until next time, drink responsibly.